am the author of Thirtysomething at 30, an oral history. I've been lucky enough to interview all the cast members from Thirtysomething, the writing staff, a lot of the directors, and some of the crew. It all started with Richard Kramer, who was one of the writers and a producer on Thirtysomething. We interacted through Twitter, and from that, with my co-host Carolyn Hendler, we started the Thirtysomething podcast. That started in about October 2015, and somehow, really not somehow, through Richard Kramer, I was able to get to all of the cast members, and this outpouring of love from the people who made the series came my way, and I was just lucky enough to catch it. The idea behind the book is to hear the story of Thirtysomething not from critics or fans, but the actual people who crafted the series. Obviously, you need to start at the top, which was with Marshall Herskovitz and Edward Zwick. I got an email from Marshall Herskovitz saying, "I'll help you with this project." Obviously, that changed everything for me. I remember walking downstairs, just my eyes humongous, and walking up to my wife and saying, this little podcast just became something else. What has amazed me is in all these years, there has never really been a full-out book on Thirtysomething. There is a script book that came out at the end of the third season that Richard Kramer put together. And it's a great book, and each writer picked their favorite script and wrote a little essay about it. But there isn't something about the series as a whole, and that's crazy. I mean, Thirtysomething was huge in the 80s, and its effect has lasted all this time. What you find out when you talk to Ed and Liberty and Susan and Marshall is that all of these episodes are reflections of their lives. And when I started to talk to these people and they realized that I wasn't there for anything sensational or any kind of gossip, I was there to find out how art was created, then they generously opened their hearts and their memories. So we took all that and put it together into this book that is coming out on June 7th, and it's a dream come true for me. One of the questions that I'm asked the most is how I compiled all of this to feel like one large conversation. When you read it, you really feel like everyone's just sitting around in Hope and Michael's living room and they're sharing memories, where actually everyone was interviewed by themselves. I've made some movies in my day. I've directed a documentary that's up on Amazon about Twin Peaks, and I've made movies since I was 18. And when you're a filmmaker, you tend to see the big picture when people are talking. When you're working on a scene, you see how that fits into the entire movie or episode, whatever you're working on. And I would be talking to Tim Busfield, and he might mention, what it was like to sit between Ed and Marshall watching dailies of his directorial debut. And that sparked a memory of Peter Horton saying that he took Ed around the set, showing him how he was going to film something, and Ed just humphed and walked away and said, "He's not getting it." And, those stories start to connect. And I would just grab those pieces, and to me it's like the biggest jigsaw puzzle I ever put together. And what I really love about the book, and what I'm proud about the book, is that I didn't have to jump in and explain things. One person says something and it leads to what the next person says. And I feel like when you read this book, it tells you the story of Thirtysomething.